Welcome to Digitalsoftecs. In this session, we are going to explain the 12 core rules for a relational database management system. So let's move towards today's agenda. So today's agenda is very simple. The 12 core rules. So let's explain one by one these rules. So what are the background? Why core rules? So Dr. Code presented a paper in 1970 in which he gave 12 rules for relational database management system. So he concluded that a DBMS must satisfy these rules are said to be a full relational database management system. So if we can see the different database management system in the market such as MySQL, IBM TB2, 4. So all these database management system satisfy the 12 core rules. So that is why the 12 core rules are accepted worldwide. So a database management system must satisfy these 12 rules. So in the relational database management system, the data is stored in the table. So all these rules are related with the table about their data insertion, deletion, updation, everything related to the data present in the table. So let's explain one by one these rules. So we have number one, the information rules. All the data should be presented in data values in rows and columns in table. So we know that this is a table. So in table we have rows and we have column. So Dr. Cord presented and concluded from the information rule that the data is stored must be in tables and the data is stored in rows and columns. So this is information rule. So by the help of this rule we can make tables and we can store the data in tables and rows. So we have the guaranteed access rule. The guaranteed access rule specify that we can access the data. It is guaranteed that the data present in the table must be accessible. So every data should be accessible by specifying table name, primary key and attribute name. So by the help of structured query language we can access that data. So that is the guaranteed access rule, that every data in the table should be accessible and we can access them. So the 12 rules, the information rule, the data is stored in the rows and columns, and the guaranteed access rule specify the data is accessible. So we have the systematic treatment of null values. So DBMS must support null values. Null values represent missing information. Null values for all types are the same, means null and means nothing. So nulls in database management system we did not specify if a student have uh, no marks in the subjects or whatever the terms. So if the student doesn't pay their fee, so we represent that fee section with the help of null values, not with 0. So DBMS must suppose recognize that it is a null value. So null value treatment, that the all type of null values are the same. So nulls means nothing. So that is why database management system should support the null values, because if the student can't pay or student have unable to pay their fee, so that is why their account section have the no fee has been paid. So in this paid column there is a null value. So you can take a lot of example. So number 4 we have active online catalog based on the relational model. So an active um, online catalogs contain the information about the data present in the table and what are the tables, what are they about. So if the table is about to the students, so that contain that it is the student table and these catalog have information about the tables. So the system catalog is a collection of relation that maintains for its own use. That is why system is used for their that information that is stored in the table, that is used by the system for itself. So these relations contain a whole description of a structure of a database. What are the structure? How many tables are present in the table in the database? How many tables are present in the database? So these are the structure of a database. So these relations are created and owned by DBMS. So in active online catalog we have the tables created by the users, such as a university table. A university database contain student database and teacher database. So user can access them as ordinary relations. So this is active online catalog. Active online catalog contains the descriptions of the table present in the database, and they have the relations created in the database by the user, and the tables owned by the DBMS. So active online catalog contain the information about the tables and about their data. So we have the comprehensive data sublanguage rule. We have the data definition, view definition, a data manipulation operation, transaction management system. In comprehensive data sublanguage, we have the data definition. We have the structured query languages. With the help of that language, we can access the data, we can define the data, we can create the databases, we can view the information, and we can see the data. With the help of structured query language, we can manipulate different kind of operations. So that is why they have comprehensive data sub language rule. So these languages are SQL and MySQL. So with the help of SQL, we can access the data, we can perform different kind of operations on that data. So code represented these rule that it have the language. So the data should be accessed. So the data should be accessed with the help of these languages. So we have the number 6 views update rule. All views that are theoretically updatable must be updatable by the systems. So views is just to show the not the whole table, but show some important data or data need by the user. So these are called views. In the previous lecture we have defined the views. So all the data should be updatable. If I want to show the views from the table and I have updated the table, so that views have the updated data. So number 7, we have high level insert. So high level insert and high level update and delete is possible. So when we are able to insert the data in the database management system or in the database or table present in the database. So the data present in the database must be perform operations such as data updation, data deletion, data insertion. So all these things are possible in the tables. So this is the main use of a database. So number 7, in number 7th rule, we specify that the data insertion is possible, data updation is possible, and data deletion is possible. We have the physical data independence rule. Application program must be remain unchanged when any change are made in the storage representation or access method. So application program or the software they are present in the database management system, if the storage devices are changed, so it will not affect the rules. So we have the rule number 9, which is the logical data independence. So logical data independence rule tell us that the changes program that do not modify any data stored in that relation do not require changes to be made to application program. So in logical data independence rule, code presented that the any changes made in the application program will not update or not make change in the data present in the relation. So this is logical independence rule. We have the physical independence rule, in which we have changes the representation or of storage, and we can modify these things. While in logical data independence, all the logic are presented in software. So when we change the software, it will not affect our relation data. So that is rule number 9. So we have the integrated independence rule. Integrated constraint must be specified independent of application program. They must be stored in the catalog. So in integrate constraint must be specified independent. So when we specify on the constraint on the data, so they must be independent. So they must be independent from the application program. So that is why our application changes in the application program will not affect our rules of our data present in the table. So that is why they are stored. We integrated independent rule must are stored in the catalog. So that is why it will not affect our data present in the database. We have number 11, the distribution independence rule. Existing application should be operated successfully when the data is distributed. So physical location of a data is control program and application may be different. So distribution independence rule tell us that when we change the existing application that are in the DBMS system or use or successfully operate when we distribute the data. So whenever the data is present where, so our application program will run smoothly and will provide services to the user. So that is why all these things, the physical location of data or control program and application may be different. So that is why physical location and control program are different from the application program. So that is why when we change in the application program, it will not affect our data, and it will smoothly provide services to the user. We have the distribution should not affect the functionality of the application. So that is why when the data is distributed, so it will not be affect the application program, and application program will continue provide services to the user. So we have number 12, the last rule, non subdivision rule. Database security is very important, therefore integrated constraints should be specified at DBMS level. In database management system, on the DBMS level, we should specify the integrated constraint, the security constraint, the restriction present on the data must be specified through the DBMS level, not through the application program. So application program are independent from the DBMS. So the DBMS must ensure no other level can bypass the constraint to be maintained at database security. So in database security, we should specify the security constraint, not through the application program. So application program provides services. When we add a new feature to security, it will not affect our application program. So these are the core rules which specify everything. Let's see a simple example in which we see the all code rules. For example, we have a roll number which is the primary key, and there is no one table they have the store data. So the role, we have a roll number, and with the help of roll number we can access. So there is the access rule is specified. We have the null value. So when we there is no address specified for the student, so we present here a null value. So there are a lot of rule we can